Hi, my name is Ben Forbes, and I am an AARP Colorado volunteer. AARP can see and feel the trends. People 50 and older are more active, both physically and mentally, than ever before. They aren't slowing down. In fact, they're preparing to do more of the things they love. So many older adults are exercising and eating right daily. They're taking time to learn new things, and they know the importance of life balance, making sure that leisure and fun are significant parts of their healthy lifestyle. As part of that Get Up and Go attitude, we are hosting webinars like Eating for More Energy with Culinary Nutritionist Michelle Fox, where we can discover ways to keep our nutrition in check so that as we age, we can continue to do the things that we love without limitations. Tonight, Michelle will educate us on the healing power of herbs by demonstrating how to make a turkey curry bowl. In that lively spirit, we welcome you to enjoy our Eating for More Energy webinar with Michelle Fox. While we hope you learn something new and exciting, we want you to enjoy yourself, relax, and most importantly, have some fun. Please note that we're offering a closed captioned offering this evening. If you're interested in that option, please click on the last red button on the bottom. If you're watching a recorded version, you can download the transcript under the Handouts tab, the fifth red button to the left that looks like paper. Also, if you're interested in a copy of tonight's recipe, it's located in the Handouts tab now. If you'd like to hear more about healthy living and nutrition, please check out our website at www.aarp.org/food/healthy-eating. We look forward to connecting with you.
Hello, and welcome to my kitchen. I am Michelle Fox, Culinary Nutritionist, and I am so excited to be here with you this evening making curry turkey bowls over Cauli rice. And yes, we will dig into the nutrition piece because that is where I get the most excited. Although it's really kind of closely followed by the excitement around food as well, because I want this food to be delicious, because the tastier it feels, the more chance it is we're going to get that nutrition in your body. So, shall we dig in? First, I am going to share a few housekeeping items, but as I do, I see a few people have already jumped in and put where you're from. I will give you some greetings in a moment, but if you haven't, let me know, where are you streaming in from? I will tell you, I am here in Denver, Colorado, and so grateful to be here and part of the AARP family. So grateful you are here as well. I want you to know a few things as you're putting this in. And again, I will say hello. But the first thing, just so you know, I don't know if you saw me point to the screen. I've got a second screen over here because my eyesight is not great at this age. I don't mind sharing that with you. We're friends now, right? So I have a larger screen here where I can see your comments. So if you see me looking over, please know you still have 100% of my attention. Down here on my iPad is actually where I have my recipe, because yes, I have made this amazing dish for my family about 1,000,000 times, but because I'm speaking, the lights are on, the cameras are going, I want to make sure I have my recipe in front of me just to make sure I don't miss out on anything for you all. So that's what's here. What else? Another housekeeping item is your recipe that I created for you. It is if you're on your laptop, it's on the bottom. You'll see the stream of red circles there, and it's kind of in the middle. That looks like a stack of papers. If you click there, you'll be able to see the beautiful recipe that you can download and then print if you choose, so that you can make this dish over and over and over again, which I so hope you do. If you are one of my friends who have an iPad, then I'm told that it should be on the left side of your screen. You'll see the red circles there. And again, look for the red circle with a stack of papers. Okay, I think that's it for housekeeping. Let's go to greetings. I saw a few people in from New York, so I know it's getting kind of late, so thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I can keep this entertaining to keep you awake so that you can be inspired to make more dishes with herbs to heal your body and to help us with healthy aging. So welcome. I see William from Florida. Hello, William. Bernice from West Bloomfield. Nice. Ray in Massachusetts. Love it. That's actually where I was born. Whoop, whoop. Give it up for Massachusetts. Michigan is Leela, or is it Lelia? But also a native of Colorado. Okay, love it. I actually claim being a native because even though I was born in Boston, we moved here before I was 1, so I can claim being a native, right? Okay, I'm claiming being a native of Colorado. Mildred's in Pennsylvania. Loretta's in Maryland. Denise is in Southern California. Nice. That is where I really hope and plan to retire. So welcome, Denise. Donna in Raleigh. Or is it Raleigh? Thank you, Donna, for being here. And thank you for having patience with me. Maida from Puerto Rico. So here. Hello, hello. Okay, and thank you all for everybody else that I couldn't get to because, we could be here all night talking about our awesome cities and our awesome states, but we came here for the nutrition. So again, we are making curry turkey bowls. That is one of my family faves, and it's one of the dishes I teach in a few of my programs because yes, it is delicious, but more important, it is loaded with health supportive, brain supportive, body supportive nutrients. And so as we put the dish together, you have my word. I will tell you why I chose these specific ingredients. All right, we are going to be busy. So for my friends who are cooking with me, let's do this. For my friends who are sitting back and watching to learn how you can do it for yourself next time, I'm going to be counting on you to be chatting us up in the chat box / comment box because one, I want to encourage community, so talk to each other in the chat box. But two, I've got a few quiz / poll questions coming up for you because we will be doing a lot of chopping, which is going to take a bit of time. And so, we don't want too many uncomfortable lulls. So your girls gotcha. So keep the brain cells going because I'm coming for you with some health questions. Okay, so first things first, let's make this curry turkey. You are going to grab an onion, and it looks like in the recipe I said 1 small onion. I don't mind sharing with you, I am kind of a wimp when it comes to onions. So I chopped these earlier with my onion goggles on, and I knew it would take a little bit of time and my eyes might start watering. So I did this ahead of time. So you, please go ahead, chop your onion into the smallest slices as you have patience for. That's what I always call coarse chopping, which is I'm just going to keep chopping. I'm going to chop to the size that I actually have patience for in the moment because, we're all busy. We all have better things to do than chopping onions, right? Before I move on, I saw a little bit of movement in the comments. I want to make sure everybody knows and has what they need. So it looks like we have a question about the recipe. So again, for my friends who might be just signing on, if you're on a laptop, look at the bottom of your screen and you'll see the red circles. And towards the middle of those red circles, you'll see a stack of papers. If you click that, then you should have access to the recipe there. If you are one of our community members who is on their iPad, then look to the left of your screen and you should see the red circles there. I hope that helps. Okay, so we are chopping the onion. So keep chopping. You can see how much patience I had today. It's a decent amount. I had time as we were prepping, and I just heated up my stove. You can see this is more of my demo stove that I have. So it might take a little bit longer than my normal gas stove that's behind me. So I'm going to give it a moment. The recipe calls for coconut oil. I'm using avocado oil today. You can use either or full fat butter or ghee would actually be delicious in this recipe. We want to use those 3/4. I guess ghee butter kind of can be 3 and 4. We want to use these fats because they are healthy fats. And the reason why I claim them as healthy fats is because they are brain supportive. They let our brains know, okay, we've got this, which of course communicates to our hormones. And I always do this when I talk about hormones because our hormones are in charge of making sure all the other functions in our bodies are running smoothly and properly. And I will tell you, to both my men and women in the circle today, our hormones do change when we are past 40. So if things have happened, in the years since, please know you're not crazy. A lot of us, our hormones are very similar to when we were teenagers, for better or for worse. And so I teach the foods that are actually going to support the hormones to keep us healthy and to keep our energy and our moods balanced. So today I'm using avocado oil because it has very little flavor. However, this dish, I think the coconut oil is delicious because it adds just a little bit of sweetness. And with the curry turkey, you get kind of that sweet and savory. which you'll also get if you have a red onion, I meant to say. The recipe calls for either or, red or yellow. I chose a yellow because that's what we happen to have in the fridge today. But you can use a red, and the red, as many of us know, are a little bit sweeter. So either one works. Let me just drop one in to see if my oil is heated up yet. And looks like we are almost there. So I'm going to turn this up. I think we're going to start this off, just in case you finish chopping and or for my friends who are observing. Let's start off with a fun poll question. So, as the title suggested, curry turkey over Cauli rice. So the Cauli is short for cauliflower. The poll question is, cauliflower is loaded with the following nutrient. And you get 4 guesses, or 4 options. I'm going to read them slowly. So cauliflower is loaded, chock full of vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, or iron. I'll read it one more time. Cauliflower is loaded with vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D, or iron. Which is the one that the cauliflower, as I'm looking at it here, that we're going to get to very soon. This makes me so happy. It does happen to be my favorite veggie. Let's check the comments, see how smart this community is tonight. And I might be on a bit of a time delay, so I'll give it just one moment. So we have 2 people that are saying zinc, 3 people zinc, and I'm nodding my head, not in agreement necessarily, but as in, thank you for participating. So without further ado, vitamin C, if you can believe it. Cauliflower is loaded with vitamin C, which is one of the things that most people don't know. I think it does kind of make sense that it might be zinc, and it might have a bit of zinc because I find that when I either have a sore throat or it feels like the sniffles are coming on, if I eat extra cauliflower and or red bell pepper is really good for allergies and cold symptoms. Immune system boosts up and no cold. So congratulations. Now you guys know. When you're looking for a little bit of extra vitamin C, instead of popping the pills, you can just eat some cauliflower. So well done, and thank you all for participating. You've got 2 more questions to catch up on, so we're good. Okay, and now my oil has heated up, so I'm going to pour and if you're following along on the recipe, there's actually 2 different ways to do this. I'm trying to keep you guys on your toes, so we can do the onions and the meat first. I believe the recipe suggests that you brown the meat first and do the onions second. It's all going to end up in the same place, so we're good. So we're just going to let these onions saute a moment, get a little bit of bliss into them. And as you can see, I'm moving them around to make sure that all pieces are nicely coated with the avocado oil. You may be using coconut oil and or butter and or yeast. You could also use a combination of all, and that would be delicious. And next, I'm going to pour in my ground turkey. So my friends who are on the vegetarian path, you are welcome to substitute tempeh might be delicious in this recipe, and or the last program we did here, somebody mentioned the Beyond Meat burger. So that might be really good in this one as well. So I'm going to use turkey. Ground lamb would be delicious for my friends who do prefer their meat protein like I do. You could also do ground beef as well. But for these purposes, I am choosing to do ground turkey this evening. And while I mix it together, I'm just going to check to see if we have any other. Oh, and Jeff, it sounds like, again, we might be on a little bit of a time lag, but Jeff got the vitamin C. So well done. Jeff, your reward, you get a sugar snap. Congratulations. Good job. And we'll talk about the nutrients in the snap peas in a moment as well. So mix your ground turkey in with the ends. We want to make sure to cook our ground meat all the way through for this recipe. I don't want any pink showing. And we're going to let this warm up for a moment and cook up. So while the meat is cooking, let's chop some other veggies. So to get ready for our cauli rice, pull out your food processor if you have one. If you don't have a food processor, second best, I would say to grab a blender. So we're just going to kind of pulse it so that we can get our cauliflower into rice-sized pieces. And I did say rice, so it's almost like we're ricing the cauliflower, hence cauli rice. And then last case scenario, if you don't have the blender and if you don't have a food processor, no worry, I got your back. You're just gonna take a little bit more time and just slowly chop that cauliflower until it does come out into like tiny rice-sized cauliflower. So for my friends who do have a food processor like me, we're gonna go ahead and pour in the cauliflower. This right here was about, I would say, half of a head of cauliflower, just for demonstration purposes. But if you have a larger skillet with which to cook it in a little bit, of course, go ahead and use the full head of cauliflower. You can see, I'll give you the heads up, I have a little tiny skillet for demo purposes for this evening. I'll probably just heat up my portion while we're here together, and I'll heat up my hubby's when the show is over. All right, so let's see. Looks like I see some more movement over here in the comments before I make noise with the machine. Let's make sure we have questions answered. Okay, so Denise is asking, turkey breast or regular ground turkey, more fat? I love this question, Denise. Thank you for asking. So as a nutritionist, I usually, and I'll admit kind of strongly, suggest we want the most fat possible. When it's the healthy fat, when it's the organic, the non-GMO, healthy fat. In fact, I talk about any meal that we have, we want a solid source of protein, healthy fat, and fiber. And when we have those three elements, we're going to be satiated for longer. And again, it's going to be supportive to our brains and let our brains know that, yeah, I got this. Like we have all the nutrients we need to think clearly and to help our aging go in a very healthful direction. So yes, the more fat, the better. Thank you for asking that question. Speaking of which, let's keep sauteing your protein and onions. And then, let's see, Diana's asking, is the frozen cauliflower rice as good? Absolutely. I know that this community can be very busy. We all have things to do. And so, of course, getting organic, whole, natural cauliflower, that's going to be my first recommendation because anything whole in nature is going to be better for us. However, if you can just get that vegetable in, then yes, by any means necessary. And when it's frozen, I mean, that is still very natural, and especially if it's organic. Yes, please grab that frozen rice cauli, and it will be great. Thank you for asking that question. Angela's asking, is there any reason to not season the meat as it is browning? That's what my mom always did. I love that. So we actually are getting to that. So I'm going to season it with sea salt. And the reason I'm using sea salt and not that white powdery stuff or the other white stuff is because sea salt is, again, more natural. It comes from the sea. Himalayan pink salt, same. It comes from the side of a mountain. I'm also going to season it with pepper, cracked black pepper. And yes, awesome reminder, Angela. And that is what I'm talking about. That is community in action right there. So yes, we do want to season our meat because it tastes better that way. With that said, when we are working with curry, which I think you're gonna love how this turns out, the seasoning in the curry sauce itself, it actually will season whatever protein you're cooking ahead of time. You see, I already warned you. I get really excited about food and nutrition, so thank you for being patient with me as I try to talk and cook at the same time. You all are amazing. So that's still cooking. I thought I saw one more question. Oh, Allison just said, great questions, everyone. Yes, agreed. Thank you for participating. And please, keep them coming. So now, if you've been with me for any of my programs, you know if we have a blender or some kind of appliance, there is probably going to be dancing going on. So we're gonna do the shoulder shake as I chop the cauliflower. So I'm going to pulse it, and I want to give you that warning ahead of time, whether you're doing a blender or the food processor. We don't want it like into smithereens. We don't want it cut into smithereens. We just want to pulse it so we can get it down to that rice-sized cauli. So here we go. 4, 8, 9, 10. Sweet! It normally just takes 10. I was hoping, because you probably don't want to see me doing the shoulder shake all night. That's only fun for so long. So as you can see, I'm going to stick my fingers in there just because it's so gorgeous. But you can see just like 10 pulses got it to a nice like rice consistency. So we're going to actually just keep that cauli rice to the side. We're going to saute it at the end. And I'll talk about texture and preference when we get to that point as well. Let's go back and check on our protein and make sure to mix in the protein with our onions. It's smelling so good. For my friends who are not cooking tonight, I can't wait for you to have these aromas in your kitchen. For my friends who are cooking, let me know. What are you smelling? Are you smelling more of the protein? Are you smelling more of the onion? Did you add any extra seasonings that you're smelling in there? This is gorgeous. I'm kind of hungry, so I am anxious to get this in my belly. Okay, so that is still cooking. The next thing we can chop while we're waiting is our snap peas. I did rinse these already, and I put them in the bowl. We want to basically take them, I'm just going to pour them all out on my chopping board, and then use the bowl to put them back in, because we're going to put them in pretty much like the last 2 to 3 minutes of cooking this dish. So this is definitely a prep and put to the side part. With the snap peas, I'm simply just going to cut them in half. And then some of them I notice have kind of like these woody edges. I am going to cut off the woody edges because nobody wants choppy, woody edges in their food. But for the most part, the sugar snap peas, they're fine. The ends are perfectly fine. With that said, I did grab the sugar snap peas from my recipe today. I know there's other snap peas. You could even do this recipe with green beans. So as long as it's a bean, I think you're going to enjoy the consistency and the flavor in this dish. Do we have any questions at this point, whether it's about anything I've talked about and or anything about herbs, which I get really excited about? All right, I'm going to do one more chop. I'm going to check the meat, and then I think it's time for another poll question. How about you? Anybody ready for a poll question? I want to see it in the comments. Can you say, I'm ready, Michelle? Or, give it to me, Michelle. I'm ready for you this time. I want to make sure this community is together, that we feel the love as we're food, because that, of course, makes the food taste that much better when we're sourcing it with our good energy. All right. Yes, Allison says, let's do it. Denise says, yep. Janine, let's do it. Jeff, woo, woo. Yes, I like it. Okay. So, next poll question. Curry powder comes from, I'm going to give you 4 options again. So, curry powder comes from a curry plant, a curry tree, a combination of herbs and spices, or a bean grown in India. I'll say it one more time. Curry powder comes from a curry plant, a curry tree, a combination of herbs and spices, or a bean grown in India. Let's see what the community's got. Oh, and Sandy said, we're ready. Thank you for playing, Sandy. And I'm going to trust that you guys are not using Dr. Google. However, if that's what we need to go to, I do recommend using the technology that we have at our disposal. That's what I try to tell my children, to work smarter, not harder. We want to work smarter. Okay, I'm going to turn my protein's ready. So I'm going to turn the heat off while I go check out the comments. Let's see here. What do we have? Okay, so we're getting a lot of combo, a tree, a combo, a bean. All right, so Angela, I'll answer you directly. So yes to my friends who said it is a combination of herbs and spices. So if you are cooking with us, and even if you aren't, go to your, I'm pointing behind me. That's where I keep my herbs and spices, just in case you're curious. That closet right there. So go to your own pantry and pull it out, and you'll see, and this was like something that just blew my mind when I went to culinary nutrition school, because I actually always did think it was like a curry tree that you like got the leaves and you just like dried it and then powdered it up. But no, my community is clearly smarter than I was at the time. It is a combination of amazing spices, including, Angela, yes, turmeric, which is the goddess of the herb world. Turmeric is so amazing to to help heal arthritis, to help keep our energy up, to help release muscle tension, to help, I've heard it help some people release their migraine headaches. Like turmeric just has 1,000,001 health benefits. And so yes to turmeric, and yes, turmeric is in your curry powder. So if you grab your bottle, you can just read. It has, at least mine, and every combination is a little bit different, just tastes relatively similar, and that's why we can call it curry. But mine has coriander, turmeric is the second ingredient, mustard, cumin, fenugreek, paprika, cayenne, cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. So there we have it, an amazing combination that we will be using up next. So I'm going to take a break from chopping my beans. And actually, before we move on, let me make sure I don't miss anybody's comments. So what can you use instead of curry for this dish? Okay, well, that makes me sad that you don't want to use the curry because it's delicious. But you can use really any of the ingredients I just said. So I think I would, if I didn't have this curry and I just went from scratch, I'd probably do sea salt, because I think sea salt just makes everything taste amazing. I'd probably use some garlic powder. That would be amazing. Some sea salt, garlic powder. If you have the turmeric, that would be wonderful. It's very low in flavor. And then maybe you could do a dash of cinnamon and just kind of play with that flavor and see if that works for you. So I hope that helps. Okay, so my friends who are cooking with any kind of protein, we are gonna now move the protein to the side. We're gonna use the same dish to actually make the curry sauce. So let's scoop up the protein in a side dish or side bowl. I just have a regular everyday bowl here that I'm gonna scoop the meat in. And because my cooktop takes a little bit longer to heat up, I'm gonna turn it back on. You go at your pace, but we are, just to give you a heads up, once I get all the protein in the bowl, we're gonna use the same pot. I'm not gonna wipe anything out because we want those still delicious flavors in there. And this is where we're gonna actually go to town on our curry sauce, which is so easy, it's gonna blow your mind. And it's really, really delicious. So keep scooping. It looks like this got a little bit bigger than the bowl. So thank goodness I have extra bowls. We'll just keep the party going and keep scooping it out. Yep, it's sizzling again. Good. I'm glad my heat is working. Right before we turn on the record button, a few of us in the background were talking about how hot it's been. Oh my gosh, I'm in Denver, as I mentioned, and so most of our metro area is kind of going through a heat wave right now. And what I read in the news, it sounds like that's kind of like a national thing, like days in this last couple weeks. So I hope wherever you are, I hope you are comfortable and happy in your kitchen. And hopefully, if not, then hopefully this is bringing you a little more joy. Okay, so we're gonna start with some chicken stock. You get bonus points if you make your own chicken stock. I always say homemade and organic is my number one choice. And so, yes, if you have it, please use it. For those of us who maybe don't have time, which I think is probably most of us, it's okay to get the chicken broth in the can or preferably in the paper box, because cans can sometimes have BPA in them. So if you are using cans, just double check the label to make sure it says BPA free. So that's another toxin that can be very harmful to our brains. Okay, so we're going to start with half a cup of, I'm using chicken stock, but you could use, in this recipe, you could use beef stock. For my vegetarians, feel free to use the vegetable stock. And I just eyeballed that. Next, we're gonna use 1 cup of full fat coconut milk. And I left it in the can because I wanted to make sure you all saw. This is the only way I've been able to find full fat coconut milk, and or some people call it coconut cream. But when it's in a can, the fat rises to the top. And so lesson learned from me, so hopefully it doesn't happen to you. Once I was giving a demonstration, and this was in the early days, to my credit, practice, makes better. But I did not mix it the way I'm mixing it now. And I was going like this, and it wasn't coming. All of a sudden, it came out a little bit of everywhere, and that was not fun. So lesson learned, which is when I open up a can of coconut milk now, whether I'm using it in my smoothies or any of the meals I am creating, I always just take a small spatula and or a small spoon, and I just stir it to make sure the solids and the liquids are mixing, so then it can come out nice and easy. And we're gonna go ahead and put the full can in. Coconut milk is another healthy fat, which is amazing for our brains, which is another reason why I chose it for this recipe. So now we've got the coconut milk and the chicken stock, and I'm just gonna stir it a bit to get some of those chunks out. The heat will actually pull the chunks out eventually, and we'll stir it a little bit more, but just stir, stir, stir. And if you still have extra chunks of protein and or onion in your pot, you can kind of take that off and put it into your I was gonna say versioning, is that a word? Your versioning sauce, your soon-to-be curry sauce. And we want that on about medium-high heat. So we don't quite want oil, but we do want a nice, strong simmer on this one. Okay, so now this is where we want to add our seasonings. So we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of curry powder. I'm just gonna eyeball it. And this is where I say go with your preference, because the more you put in, it's gonna give you a little bit more heat, like the hot, spicy heat. And the less you put in, it's still gonna give you really good flavor if you just put in maybe 1 tablespoon if you don't wanna go all the way hot. So I'd say a little bit, and then maybe taste it in a 2 to 3 minutes, I would say taste it. And then keep adding more from there. I always recommend you want to put in less in the beginning as you're cooking, because we can always add in more. Particularly, goodness gracious, let me just take a moment, because I feel like that's the 5th time I've tripped over my tongue, and you all deserve me and all of me. So let me just calm down for a minute. Let's just all take a deep breath. Thank you. Thank you for indulging me. I'm coming down. It's just, like I said, I get so excited about food. I get so excited about nutrition. And when I'm cooking a dish that is one of my faves, it's hard to contain it. But I want you to be able to get all the information you want. So I think it would behoove me to slow down a bit. Okay, so what I was trying to say is when we're adding salt to any dish, we want to just add a little bit of salt, because it often expands as the dish cooks. And we can always add the salt at the end if we want more of that salty flavor. With that said, let's put a little salt in our curry. That was about, let's say, 3/4 of a teaspoon. And as you can see from my friends who are cooking with me, the lumps should have disappeared at this point, the lumps from the coconut milk. I'm just gonna stir to make sure everything's together. And let me double check the recipe to make sure I'm not forgetting any ingredients. Oh, so pepper is actually optional. I know some people don't love pepper, and that's okay. But we happen to love pepper in this household. So I'm gonna add some ground pepper to the sauce as well. And now the nice simmer's happening. A little bit too fast. I just turned my heat down a little bit. And now the beautiful thing is we are just going to let this curry sauce cook down for about 5 to 10 minutes. I would say the longer you let it simmer, the more flavorful it's going to be, the deeper flavor you're going to get. But again, for my time crunched peeps, 5 minutes will be just fine as well. You'll still get a lovely flavor. So let me move this meat out of the way so you can see my hands. And so let's go back to just chop in the snap peas. And I think I saw a question earlier, why snap peas? Yes, snap peas, which I'm trying so hard not to pop in my mouth because I love that they're crunchy and delicious. I actually snack on these once in a while, just in their form. But they are an amazing source of iron, but a more incredible source of fiber. And so that's what's kind of rounding out our PFF. That's what I call my PFF method. Again, it's the protein, it's the fiber, and it's the healthy fat. So in my dish tonight, we're doing the turkey for the protein, we're doing the snap peas for the fiber, and we've got the coconut milk and the avocado oil as the healthy fats. So I hope that helped for that question. Let's see if we are... Oh, wow, there's a lot of questions coming through. You guys are amazing. So as this is simmering, let me just run through and see what I can answer. So Vicki says she cooks everything with turmeric. Oh, I love it, Vicki. You must be a very healthy person because, yes, as you know, it heals so many things in our body. Okay. So Bonnie says, I'm so happy you mentioned vegetarian. Definitely trying this with the Impossible burger meat. I was here for my 3 meat eaters, but 2 of us are plant-based. So using the Impossible meat is a win-win for everyone. Yes, I love that. Exactly, because with all these amazing, rich flavors, your meat eaters, they probably won't even notice that you used the Impossible burger. So I love the creative thinking outside the box. Nicely done. So Sandra says, when I don't have time to watch the broth, I use my crock pot to make broth. Oh, you just got my heart. You're exactly right. And for my friends who maybe do the rotisserie chickens, I do encourage you to save those bones. And like she said, use the bones, put them in your crock pot, and you don't have to think about it. So thank you. That is a beautiful suggestion. And I think that's going to help me up my game. So thank you for that reminder. Amen. So Donna says, my can is 1.5. Should I only be using 1 cup? I would say if you're not going to use that rest, that 0.5, like in a smoothie tomorrow, instead of wasting it, I think you're perfectly fine at putting it in your skillet/wok. Because again, as you can see, it's kind of cooking down. And I know you asked that a little while ago, so hopefully we're not too late. But yes, go ahead, put all your full can of coconut milk in your pot. Thank you for asking. And Angela says, my excitement is contagious. Yes, good, then I'll keep dancing and I'll keep playing because it does light me up. So I'm so glad it's lighting you up as well. Yay. And Sandy says, love lots of pepper and spice. Yes. Jeannie's asking, can you use olive oil? I want to answer that, Jeannie. And then Sandy's saying, could you add more veggies like carrots? Yes. So if you're going to use a harder veggie, Sandy, like carrots, I would definitely put them in now so they get a chance to soften up. The snap peas are pretty delicate, so that's why we're not going to add them into the very end. And we also want that kind of crispiness from the peas. But yes, if you want to chop up some carrots, that's an excellent way to get more vitamins, beta carotene, and more fiber in. So love that suggestion. Beautiful. My friend who asked, so Jenny, can you use olive oil? So I'm going to keep chopping my peas while I answer that. The answer is you could. However, I strongly recommend saving olive oil for vinaigrettes and or for anything that's not being cooked. Because olive oil is another gentle friend of ours that kind of wilts and definitely changes its chemistry as it gets heat in it. So we don't want to saute much and or cook with olive oil. But if you're baking and or, like I said, making a vinaigrette or drizzling it over a salad, yes, it is an amazing, amazing brain supportive oil. It's just that the heat kind of kills a lot of the properties. So that's why I like to use the avocado oil or the coconut oil or the full fat butter and ghee, because they can be heated to high heats and they do not lose their properties, their health supportive properties. I don't know if you guys also have some of these peas that are already kind of baby, so I'm not going to bother cutting it. It's so cute. We're going to leave it whole like that. Ooh, it's smelling so good in this kitchen. All right, what else? Okay, looks like that's what we got for now. And I am just kind of, as you can see, letting my curry sauce just simmer on its own. I'm not going to stir it now. Like you could, it's fine if you've already done that, but it's kind of doing its own lovely science project over here that's going to be amazing to taste momentarily. For my friends who are just watching the demo, I often say, I wish we had smell-o-vision so I could just like transfer the smells over. Or even like the Willy Wonka TV, where I could just, after we finish the dish, I could just share a little taste with all of you. That would be the most incredible. I don't know if anybody's actually working on that yet, but I would sign up for that. Because this is going to be plenty of food for my husband and I. Our children are all doing their own thing tonight, and so we will definitely have plenty of leftovers tomorrow. And that's actually one thing I wanted to mention is whether you have a big family or a small, this dish right here makes amazing leftovers. Similar to like some really good Chinese and really good Italian, it's often, tell me if you agree, but it's often tastier, I think, the next day than it is the day of. Not to say this isn't going to be tasty tonight, because it is, and we're going to eat it. But if you have leftovers, you definitely have something to look forward to tomorrow. All right, let's see. Okay, so we're good there. This is great. So now I'm going to give it a little stir. I am going to put my protein back in the pot. And for my newbies, as you can see, I'm putting the protein in and I'm moving it away from my body, because that way, if it splatters, the splatter is going to go that way and not on my body. I teach children's classes, and so excuse me if this sounds elementary at all, but this is kind of the way I teach. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. So as you can see again, pouring it out away from my body. And now I'm just going to mix in all of my turkey. The heat should still be at about medium high. I just want to make sure all the turkey is coated. While we do that, just so you know, I'm turning on my second skillet because we are about to saute the riced cauliflower. Okay, so now we're going to let the turkey and or whatever protein you chose, we're going to let it kind of simmer in this gorgeous curry sauce for about 5 minutes, and then we'll put the peas in, and then if we get to it, we'll chop some herbs and sprinkle that all over it as well. Okay, any comments? We're good there. We're good there. Awesome. Okay, so grab your riced cauli. I'm going to change burners here so you can see hopefully a little bit. Oh yeah, it's a little bit in camera. My refuse pot to that side, some herbs here. Okay, so what I wanted to share with you about our cauliflower, which, as I'm sure you remember, is loaded with vitamin C, which is amazing for those of us who struggle with allergies and or have a little cold symptoms coming on. It's amazing to have cauliflower in your diet to ward off the sickness. When you are making the cauli rice, whether it's fresh or my friend who has the frozen, which again, so proud of you for just getting it in, the longer you cook it, the softer it's going to be. If you want to just kind of flash fry it, awesome. If you don't want to cook it at all, that's great too. Like you can easily eat it raw and it'll still be delicious. It'll just be really crunchy. It'll be crunchier than I prefer, but I typically saute mine for a good 2 to 3 minutes, and then I feel like it's like a decent ricey type texture. So let's see. Oh good, that's nice and warm already. I'm gonna go back and use my avocado oil, but you feel free to use your butter. Ooh, butter actually could be really good. For those of us like me who are lactose intolerant, butter actually is too much for my system, so I don't cook with butter. But if you can tolerate butter, please use butter. Ghee would be delicious to flavor up the cauli rice, and or the coconut oil. I know some people say, my daughter specifically, she tells me that the coconut oil just tastes too coconutty, is what she says. I personally can't taste it, and so I do still cook with it. I really like to use coconut oil when I do scrambled eggs or omelets. So just, a little hip tip. Here I'm going to stick with my avocado oil throughout. And then, because I have a smaller skillet, I am just going to put in, let me grab a spoon. I'm just going to put in enough for one bowl. And then I will warm up some from my hubby right before we eat this evening. I love a good simmer. Yum, yum, yum. And then as you can see, it looks almost like, I was going to say regular. How about we'll say traditional? It looks like traditional rice because it's in that rice side. And then I am going to season mine with a little bit more sea salt. And I do like cracked pepper on mine. You might also enjoy some garlic powder. That could be really delicious in your riced cauli. And what I love about the rice cauli, not only does it have the amazing source of vitamin C, but it doesn't have any carbs. And so you'll see in a moment when we layer our bowl, it tastes, well, I'm not going to lie, it does not taste like rice, but it tastes delicious when the two are combined. And you get 0 carbs, so a lot less calories, but a lot more nutrients. So that's why I love using cauli rice as a substitute for anywhere that I do see rice in an entree. Probably don't want to do that for baking if the baking calls for rice, but if you're just looking for amazingly healthy sides, I would definitely go for the cauli rice. All right, the meat is simmering. The cauli rice is simmering. Hopefully you finished chopping your snap peas and or green beans and or peas. Ooh, you could even add spinach if you have spinach in your garden. I know it's summertime, so a lot of us have gardens that we're growing. Feel free to throw in more greens at this point. And while that's simmering, speaking of greens, I did grab some Thai basil from my garden. That's another thing that gets me very excited. My husband and I started our first garden in June, I want to say. So we were kind of a little bit late to the game, but it's so green and it's so lush. And I so love that I get to share it with you all this evening. So we are trying this, this Thai basil. And this is just going to be an added sprinkle to the top. If you have any herbs, please grab them if they're left over and or hanging out in your house. So whether that's basil or thyme or parsley, what are some other good herbs? Actually, let me know. What are some of your favorite herbs? Whether you have them in your house or not, I would love to know. What are some of your favorite herbs? And the reason why we're talking about herbs at this point is because I want to let you know they are detoxifying. So they're an amazing detoxifying source for our livers and for our kidneys. And that's truly any green herb. Everything that I mentioned, and then let's see, cilantro. I love cilantro. Or as my Canadian teacher calls it, cilantro. And my kids think that's really funny. So yes, love cilantro. I know people go to war over the taste of cilantro. It's either you really love it or you really hate it. I really love it. One of my daughters really hates it, but All right, so I'm going to turn off my cauli rice, turn off the heat. But yes, any green herbs that you can get in your body, please, I encourage you. Try to hear my voice in your head when you're maybe on the fence. Be like, yes, just get them in, whether it's breakfast, lunch, and or dinner, because they have that detoxifying process and loaded with chlorophyll and amazing for our brain health. Help us with healthy aging. So get the herbs in. I'm going to do a quick time check. Let's see where we are there. Oh, good. We are right on time. So now we are at the last few moments. So I am going to go ahead and pour my snap peas in with the protein. Put the bowl to the side. I will mix those together. And with most herbs, I will tell you, yes, great to cook with them. Any way you can get them in your body. However, you're going to get maximum benefit if they are not cooked. So the more raw you can take your herbs, typically the better your body is going to, I'm going to say uptake them, the quicker your body is going to be able to use the nutrients. Okay, so let's give that a moment to heat. I'm going to take my cauli rice completely off because it's still simmering, and I don't want it too soft, because if it's too soft, it does get a little mushy. And I just like mine with a little bit of heat in it, that you can see it cook down just a little bit, and isn't it so gorgeous? Woo, I can't wait to dig in. Okay, parsley, nice, love it. Cilantro, Italian parsley, oh, rosemary. That just takes me away. I love just sniffing the rosemary. Love that. Sage, nicely done, Sandra. And basil too. Okay, so you like all the herbs. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let me grab a fresh bowl. And I am just going to start plating up my curry turkey over cauli rice bowl. So I'm going to put the cauli rice at the bottom as the base. Looks like that stove is still hot. Interesting. Okay, so I guess I will keep that on my cooking board because I do not want to burn that. And I'm going to turn my protein off. Give it a nice stir. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. And then I will scoop it in the bowl. And it's fun because even, I would say 2 of my kiddos complain about the veggies. They love this dish because the snap peas still actually snap in your mouth, which is nice. It's a nice crunchiness, so they will eat these veggies. I probably should leave it there. We've had kids with us all summer long, and it's been a lot. My fellow parents, I know you can probably relate, so I'll just say, we'll leave it there. Next, we want to grab the herbs and just lightly top our gorgeous bowls. And there you have it. We've got our curry turkey bowls over cauli rice. And yes, I'm going to taste this with you. Let's get to that part. That's the most fun of being able to do any cooking demonstration, is to be able to eat the food. But before I do that, and actually let me pull out a little bit because it is hot. And yes, I love you, but I am not going to burn my mouth for this one. I'm just going to pull a little bit out to the top and see if there's any more comments and or questions. Let's see. So Denise, oh no, Bonnie is saying you can get frozen garlic and herb cauliflower to save time. Ooh, that sounds delicious. You're exactly right. You would probably just put it on the skillet, use your avocado oil and or your coconut oil, saute that seasoned cauli rice, and voila, you've got an amazing side, and or that could be your full meal. I would want to, of course, add some kind of protein, whether it's vegetarian protein or animal protein. But thank you for that hip tip. You are exactly right. Oh, but the one main thing I do want to mention is labels. We always want to look at labels to make sure that they're not adding in any sugar and they're not adding any gluten or dairy as preservatives. So I say yes, yes, yes to frozen, but I say no way to the whey, because that can also be inflammatory and impede some of our healthy aging. So we don't want that in our bodies. All right, Angela says, looks delicious. Yay. And Denise says, looks great. We'll make this for sure. Yes, Denise. I so hope you love it, honestly. Jean says, yummy. Marie says, looks so good. Oh, good. Angela says, footed professional taster just wandered by. That would be Chloe Dog. She does make quite a few cameos. Thank you for noticing her. Great recipe, Vicky says. I will be cooking regularly. Oh, I'm so glad. I truly hope this is something you can add to your regular go-to, because yes, it took us 60 minutes to make because I'm dancing and singing and talking about the ingredients. But truly, when you're doing this on your own, you can get this prepared, cooked on the table in under 30 minutes. I promise. This is simple, it's delicious, and of course, very nutritious. So yes, I honestly hope that you do make this one. Let's see. Sandra says, looks delicious. I'm definitely making this. And then, yes, Allison just reminded me. So before you all go, if you loved this, if you want more, which I hope you do, please come back. I will be here October 6th. We will be talking about creamy fettuccine Alfredo. I will be making it dairy-free, yes, and gluten-free, yes. And I promise it'll be one of the creamiest, most delicious Alfredos that you have ever tasted. You have my word. So yes, October 6th, we'll be right back here. Okay, so let me taste this as it's a little bit cooler. Oh my gosh, this was worth all of it. Right here, this was worth it. So I hope you are having the same reaction because, oh my goodness, this is just like hitting a really happy place in my tummy. Let's see, let's answer a few more questions and then we will close down. So, you are welcome, Jeannie. Thank you. Sandra's asking, what is a good substitute for snap peas? Thank you for asking, Sandra. So I would say any of the green peas are amazing, but if you're saying that you just don't love snap peas at all, or any kind of peas, I would suggest maybe you could wilt down some kale. That could be delicious. And I said wilt down, but the heat would wilt it down. So I would slice it in ribbons. So you could put kale ribbons, which would be amazing. You could do spinach, and same thing. I would slice that down into ribbons, and you could put spinach in. That would be really delicious. Ooh, broccoli actually would be good too. I'm trying to think of all my favorite green veggies. If you do any of them, the broccoli, the kale, or the spinach, you definitely want to wait similar to the peas and put them in at the very end. If you're doing any of the harder vegetables, like we talked about earlier, like carrots, maybe, if you wanted to add like a sweet potato, then you'd want to do that early on. I'd probably start cooking that with either the meat or with the curry sauce, because that just needs more time with the heat to soften up. So I hope that helps. Donna says, I love you, exclamation point. Well, I love you, Donna, exclamation point. Thank you so much for being here. Sincerely. So much fun. Mildred said, yes, looking forward to the next cooking class. Sweet, Mildred. I will see you on October 6th. I'm looking forward to it. Ooh, Jeannie says asparagus. That would be delicious. And that's one of those middle ground, like, if you like it crunchy, I would say, again, wait to the end. But if you like it a little bit softer, then maybe cook it with the actual curry sauce as well. Diana, you are welcome. And she says she looks forward to making it with friends. Sweet, yes. Now you will be able to be the queen of your parties, because you can say, I just whipped this together. And people will think that you spent hours like creating a delicious, amazing curry sauce. And I won't tell them. You go ahead, let them know, yes, I worked all day on this amazing curry sauce, knowing that it only took you 30 minutes. So yay, I truly hope that helps your celebrations. Did you use this with a fish? Ooh, I've never tried that before. Sandy, absolutely, with the sauce. So I'd probably bake the fish or saute the fish on the side and make the curry sauce on the side, and then maybe kind of drizzle, I love that word, drizzle the curry sauce over the fish. That would be amazing. And then even better, having that bed of cauli rice underneath the fish. Oh, we could go on and on. Yes, I'm loving these ideas. Absolutely. Let's see. And Sandra says, sometimes the snap peas I get are stringy and woody. Okay, yeah, I would definitely cut off the edges and pull the strings out. But yes, if you don't have time for that, then please use some of the other greens. It'll still be delicious because this curry sauce just, I think, makes everything taste delicious. Mildred says, maybe a red pepper, non-hot, would add a little extra seasoning. Yes. All right, and then Allison says, thank you all. So thank you all so much. This sincerely has been my joy. I hope it was educational. I hope it was entertaining. And I sincerely hope you all come back. Have a beautiful evening. We'll see you soon.